Welcome back to another Just 5 Mins. On a different device, a MacBook Air laptop with hopefully better recording capabilities, because my good friend Tim was saying the last couple of episodes, I didn't even notice actually, seemed to have some ducking or dropouts or something, auto ducking, I don't know. So I thought I'd try a different device and we'll see where this takes us. So what have I got? Well, it's announcement time. There are quite a few other things I'm going to drill into in a couple of specials, really. One being Data API Builder, which I find really quite interesting. There's also something called VS Code Data Wrangler, which is another thing. And a little aside is that Microsoft on Windows 11 anyway, coming soon, is the fact that you can have Git in your file explorer, which sort of sounds a bit odd, but then when you think about it, actually quite interesting really. You can just have a normal folder in your Windows environment, but it's got Git source control. So you know, that's quite handy actually. And if you think it could be non-developers, you could have like documents or whatever in there that you can, well, by the looks of it, looks quite easy to actually check them in, check them out, make modifications, branch and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's quite interesting. And also the fact that they in the newer file explorer, it's going to be, even though you've had zip compression for a long time, Microsoft are providing 7-zip, you know, as another compression option, as well as tar, which tar is used a lot on Linux machines. So that makes sense given you've got the Windows subsystem for Linux on Windows machines. So there's a few things like that. But of course, it's been Microsoft Build conference for developers and whatnot. And of course, you couldn't escape AI, Copilot everywhere. But interestingly, they've got a couple of new, well, I think initially a couple of new devices. But the big difference is they've gone a little bit like Apple. So where Apple went with their Silicon M chips, like M1, M2s and all those things, they're using the ARM technology instead of Intel. Okay, so ARM for a long time has been in your mobile phones and all those sorts of things, you know, or mostly anyway. There's all variants of them, but generally, an ARM actually is an interesting company in its own. I don't know. I've got a feeling they got bought by Nvidia at some point, I think, in fairly recent times. But anyway, the whole idea is it's meant to be more performant, you know, faster, better efficiency on batteries. But interestingly, Microsoft, obviously they couldn't help themselves, I don't think. They've got Copilot literally ground into everything everywhere in your settings and everything. But it's basically a new platform. It's ARM instead of Intel. I'm sure they'll still support Intel for a long time, but the ARM with Windows 11 has got a lot of native apps that'll run on ARM, but they've also got something I think called Prism. That Prism is like an emulator to run the old, well, what will be older Intel-based apps on Windows 11. So. But it's really quite interesting. They've obviously got a really powerful CPU, the ARM CPU, with a really powerful GPU, which is a graphic processor unit, which interestingly can also be used for a lot of AI processing. But they've actually, on top of all of that, they've stuck in an NPU, which is a neural processor unit. For specifically for AI, and one of the big things is it's going to be baked into Windows 11 and available via the Windows SDK, but it's Copilot, essentially Copilot platform library, and it means that you can run LLMs or SLMs, small language models, locally. And one of those is something called Phi 3 or PHI 3. There's all sorts of other models as well. But anyway, that looks really interesting. I'll put some links below. I've got a bit of a deeper dive going into some of the other bits, not just around the Microsoft Build Conference, I might add, but that's what I've got at the moment. I'll put some links in the show notes, and yeah, it's that's what I mean. It was inevitable. It was going to be full of AI and everything else, and Copilot. But there we go. So that's what I've got for this time. We will catch you on the next one.